Hey everybody, it's Eric with Smart Pot Fabric Planters, and welcome back to the Growing Revolution. We've got another great episode. We have a genuine Smart Pot superfan, the Naked Grower, as our guest today. And we've been following her for, I'm sure, over a year now. She just kind of popped up onto our radar because she takes really amazing photographs of her plants, and she's a big fan of Smart Pots. So they get a lot of love in her Instagram feed. And she's based in Oklahoma, and we wanted to get an Okie female perspective on the cannabis industry and what she's doing with her smart pots. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super
Oh,
stoked.
so first off, why did you choose the naked grower as your persona?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think that was 2019, early 2019. I was trying to make an Instagram page for like, almost literally what you just said, just trying to showcase my perspective of the cannabis industry in Oklahoma. And I wanted it to feel very raw. So the word naked just kept getting thrown around and in my head. So one day I went and I entered in the Naked Grower and it wasn't taken yet. And I
Unbelievable.
was like, I think this is the universe is like screaming at me to take this name. So I
Yeah,
snapped her
you
up.
would have thought that that would have been taken back in 2015 or earlier, but yeah, kudos to you. Big score. So, how long
I
have
know.
you been growing cannabis for then?
I've been growing plants, especially commercial agriculture, my entire life, but I didn't switch over to cannabis until it became legal here. So that was 2018. But like I said, I'm very fortunate that I already have such a heavy background on commercial agriculture, cotton, canola, wheat, the whole nine in Oklahoma, that switching to cannabis was just learning another plant. I wasn't having to teach myself how to garden and grow
Yeah, absolutely.
weed.
So you were in commercial agriculture before cannabis. What were you doing?
When I was very, very young, I worked on a farm, which was one of the largest wheat and cotton producers in the state of Oklahoma. They also did cattle. And I worked for them for a long time, physical labor. And then whenever I became older, I left the farm. I started doing my own college work, trying to see if I was even going to get through, which I didn't. And I somehow ended up learning financials for the farm. So I came back and now I'm working at the farm, but from a totally different side of things. I'm doing their financials. So I ended up using that to get into a plethora of other industries, including the car industry. And when weed became legal, me understanding the full circle, it just made sense for me to try it.
Awesome.
So um, I'm not really sure if I answered your question completely, but
In a roundabout way. So I guess what would you say your day job is as the naked grower? Like what are you doing?
yes. So I started off only growing weed commercially, and I was very fortunate to have the opportunity last year in 2021 to diversify. So I have diversified through a lot of separate avenues. I do software and business management for people. So there's a lot of cannabis brands on Instagram that you guys may or may not know that I manage all of their business for them. I do PR for people, so I'll help folks kind of design different photos, and that's just 1099 work. So that's like all what the Naked Grower is. She's just kind of like this hub for help. If you need help, you don't have to come pay me like a huge retainer like a lawyer, but I work like one. So I'll give you an hourly fee and I'll do all these things that will just kind of help fill the gaps in your business. So that's why all the experience that I've had in life to me just set me up for that, for understanding like the full circle of what a business is. So business management is primarily what I do. I also have a few products coming down the line that are not cannabis related. They're more CBD and personal intimacy related. So I've had a few labs approach me about that, about wanting to brand their products that I think are cool and they're local here in Oklahoma City. But for the most part, I just help people every day, get phone calls all day,
Awesome.
every
So
day.
so you're just kind of a
So,
general consultant in the cannabis industry in
hmm
Oklahoma. Awesome.
Yes, absolutely.
Now I have to ask, how long have you been growing plants in smart pots for? Were you using them in commercial agriculture or just cannabis?
Cannabis was the first time I'd ever heard of a smart pot. I have heard of fabric planters. I think everyone's heard of like large fabric planters, but I had never myself gotten into that. I was always growing straight out of
Mm-hmm.
the ground. This is other plants, obviously. And then the first gentleman, he's actually really cool. His name's Brian Overstreet, that taught me the specificities about cannabis cultivation. Was the first person to say the word smart pot in front of me. And I was like, what is that? A smart pot? And within the first harvest, I'm like, these are really cool. Like, I've never seen anything aerate like this, like the ground. Like, it is, I feel like I'm growing in the ground still. And so that's what's always attracted me to your product was like I can see the aeration, I can see the difference. And I've bought other fabric planners before that whether it's a millimeter or a micro, millimeter, whatever measurement that is of thickness that they have in comparison to the smart pot is enough to like essentially just be growing out of, you know, pottery or something. Like it's not breathing the same,
Yeah, yeah, there's only one smart pot and there's a million knockoffs out there, and some of them come closer than others, but we've spent decades perfecting the product. So thank you for kind of that shout out there. Besides smart pots, what else are you using in your garden? Any other products that you want to give a shout out to?
As far as containers,
No,
none.
obviously
Smart
not.
pots are my containers. On occasion, I use a red solo cup, but that's just when I'm feeling lazy. Um, yeah, this year, instead of shouting out as many products, I'm trying to just promote a lifestyle and a way to grow. So, in the past 3 years of switching to cannabis outdoors in Oklahoma, I've seen the problems that our soil has carried for a very long time. And it's disturbing to me. So, through smart pots, outdoor and indoor, I love the ability to be able to have another outlet to like communicate my message of just growing, trying to grow clean, sustainable growing, really think about how you're growing instead of, like, oh, everyone's using Athena, I want to use Athena, or everyone's using Floraflex, I need to run Floraflex. Like, it's just like take a step back from that and try to look at it at the base of it. NPK is what you have to feed the plant. It needs these things and start to perfect from the baseline up. And that's just what I'm begging people to do this year. And we're going to start seeing really big changes, I think, in the climate of Oklahoma just by taking it seriously, you
Yeah,
know?
and at the end of the day, all of these nutrient products, yeah, are composed of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium. So understanding the base knowledge, that goes into these products is just going to help everybody be a better grower going forward.
Yes. And I do lives for that. I'm trying to push to two a week, but right now I've only been able to do one that is just straight growing information. Like if you have beginners questions, I call them growing for dummies because it's literally like if you don't know what. Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I allowed to cuss?
We can always edit that out.
Okay, we'll restart that. So, just if you don't know anything about growing, but you want to, because to me, gardening isn't a hobby, that's how we used to feed ourselves. And everyone probably has the ability to garden. You just need the basic knowledge. So, I've been starting out with the absolute basics popping seeds. We're moving into NPK, silica, humic acids. We're going to do the whole
Nice.
nine. So I look forward to that this year. We're going to have a plant outside, out back, and I probably won't smoke it because I've never grown outdoors on my current property, but I'm at least curious to see, what's in the ground where I
Oh,
live.
nice.
So
Now, I guess as far as smart pot aesthetics go, do you have a favorite color of fabric that we put out?
I would have to say that so far my favorite is that purple. I think the purple's so beautiful. I know you don't call it purple, but just soy Latino, so I have like my colors are real basic. Your orange one's very beautiful as well. I think it's like a cherry red or an orange.
I call it blaze orange. I don't know. I'm from Wisconsin, so that's just kind of my frame of reference is hunting. But yeah, we call it mandarin orange.
Mandarin. Okay, nice. So, but really, in reality, I like the black. I think the black is the cleanest look. The tan's nice, but I definitely prefer the
Nice,
black ones.
classic black. Uh, so
Yeah.
I would say, obviously, most of your photos that we see on Instagram aren't selfies. Who's taking your pictures there?
Those are 100% self-produced.
Oh, so you're staging
So
them.
I I run my own productions through and through. 100 every photo you see is a naked grower
Awesome.
production.
Yeah.
Except for the obvious collaboration, like if you see like me collaborate with another brand, videography like Cosmic Brands, that was 100% their production, but everything else is mine. So it takes some time. I think people you can never be fooled by Instagram pages when they look really nice. Don't get fooled by the vibe. Like that was just some effortless thing. It wasn't, you know, those folks probably put an hour or two into
Mm-hmm.
that and then you have to edit and all the nine. But it's worth it just to see the art when it's done. Cause to me, it's art. I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So
And that's kind of what attracted you to us is a lot of people tag us in their Instagram posts, hashtag smartpots, but your photos just kind of jump out at us as being beautifully staged and well thought out. So that's cool to hear that, you're 360 doing all that work. So really cool. So you're in Oklahoma in the cannabis industry, which is very heavily male dominated. What is it like being a female in such a overly male industry?
mm, this is a common question that the answer to changes as I get older. So my answer to this question like 8 months ago was the same as any male dominated industry that I'm in, like be tenacious and stomp your ground and, XYZ. But I think that that was kind of in a different mindset. As I've gotten older, I've realized that it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't. There's always going to be clubs of people that you might want to just assume is a boys' club and you can't get in. But at the end of the day, that's always been the social dynamic. And what I look forward to are all the amazing women that I meet every day and realizing that there really are quite a bit of talented, women in the industry as well. But I'm like ready for the inclusion instead of like the separation. Like we should just all be growers. You know what I mean? And I am realizing more and more that when women put their intelligence first, it might not immediately be perceived well, but with time, it will earn you respect. And so now, um, the majority of the DMs that I get are growers that have questions, and I have questions for them, or they want to know if I've ever popped these seeds, or check out the pictures of my plants. And I think that folks would probably be shocked to know that my DMs are not like some kind of like please baby sexcapade thing. They're actually like really amazing. And I'm super happy about it. And I've never had to be mean to a guy to accomplish that. So that's all the advice that I would give for women in the industry is, the less you start to see yourself as different, the more that other people will start to treat you the
Absolutely,
same.
because
So
people are people, when whether you're male, female, or other, and at the end of the day, like if you get enjoyment and pleasure out of cannabis, like you're a friend of mine, I would say. So, and at the same time,
exactly.
it's really great to see more females getting, into the cannabis industry on one level or another. Just to get a little balance. I think life is all about balance, and men and women should
Yeah.
be side by side, hand in hand. And the cannabis industry is, I think, quickly turning into a bit more even playing field. I think
Yeah.
naturally men are crazier and we're more risk takers generally. So I think that's why the cannabis industry traditionally has been so male dominated. But now that, legalization efforts have, brought down penalties for growing cannabis, women are like, well, hey, let's do this. So that's great to see.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with that. I'm sure the statistic of male to female, like on the black market, is overwhelmingly disproportionate, but the legal side has been so enjoyable to see the modern, um, like the way our environment is structured right now, women are just jumping in. So I'll never forget this stupid, I was watching Cars, which is a children's movie, and the young lady was looking at Lightning McQueen and she said, and I looked around and I realized I didn't belong in the room, so I left. Haven't you ever felt like that? And he said, no, I never even second guessed myself. And so I think that that's the biggest difference between men and women. And the more that women can stop second guessing their ability to and instead embrace the ability to learn and try, like it is becoming like
Yeah.
that. It's really neat to
Yeah.
watch. So I want to watch everyone flourish, male or female,
Absolutely. There's room for everybody to be successful in this industry.
Exactly.
Now, I guess going forward, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself in the cannabis industry or somewhere else? What do you think the future holds for you?
Yeah, I appreciate that question. I've used my platform for spreading my core values. And that is going to be the continuation of that, is spreading my core values. So those are artisanal values. I take a lot of pride in doing things that take a skill set or a learned skill set to accomplish. I take a lot of pride in my local community and the ability to understand the way economics work. And so my main goal in the next 5 years is to try to stimulate my local economy as much as I can. And the way that I'm doing that is through being influential on the Naked Growers page to show my core values. And by March, late March, hopefully having my bodega open, which is just an Amazon style store. They're not my products, they're just verified by me, and they're all local artisans that don't have business skills and don't care to. They just want to show their products and sell them like normal people, right?
Is that going
So,
to be a brick and mortar store or is that online only?
no, that's online only. And I'm going to have tiny bodegas set up in existing brick and mortars. So,
Cool.
let's say you hop down to VZD's downtown and there will be a little shelf there that's like that store's bodega. So I really look forward to it. We have some pieces, like I could show you this. May I show you something? This
Absolutely.
is a piece that was made for me. This shelving unit back here is all handmade in Oklahoma with trees from Oklahoma, painted, designed,
Nice.
etc. It's all attached. And it was only $200. So like $200 isn't going to get you that far in like Target or Ashley's home store, but it'll get you far, very far on the bodega. So we have items as low as $1.99 all the way up to $400 or $500. And it's just like Amazon. It's the full nine. Anything you can think of will be on the bodega. So
I think, when people are looking for art, they would rather support a local artist. If something's like
exactly,
the same price, Amazon versus your bodega, I'd be going for the
exactly.
bodega all day.
Exactly,
Sounds really
exactly. So
cool.
that's the goal. We're never going to eliminate large corporate interests, but I think that we can facilitate in keeping some of our income local in this economy. And I think people are just plumb shocked sometimes, like how much you actually help if you go to someone's store that they own it here and you spend your money there. You're changing the world when you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Bezos already has a super yacht. He doesn't need another one, so we should definitely be
Yeah.
supporting more local. Just because you're online doesn't mean you can't be local and buying local. So that's really cool
Exactly.
what you're putting together there. Um, Now, are you a grower of any other plants besides cannabis? Like, do you grow, I don't know, tomatoes or
Oh yeah.
anything like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I grow the whole nine. The last season, so last year's season is the first season that I haven't grown personal plants in I can't even remember when, because I was so overwhelmed by my cannabis crops that I didn't do it. But the season before that was the first season that I grew all my personal plants in smart pots, and I have never harvested so many peppers So many tomatoes. I'm talking continual harvest throughout.
Nice.
Like every time I would cut, they would just start sprouting more. And I like trees. I do trees primarily. So I helped my mother do an avocado, a lime, and an orange tree at her home in Florida. And I'm doing a little bit of research on what trees bear fruit that do the best in Oklahoma's climate. I know apples. I mean, I know a few things like that, but that's actually how I'm going to design my outdoor cannabis grow. There's going to be the greenhouse is going to be used by living plants around it, essentially protecting the cannabis. So,
Awesome. Awesome. Uh,
yeah.
so you've got kind of a persona on, Instagram as, I don't know, I guess I would say very laid back, chill. Um, is there anything that people would be surprised to know about you, that might be kind of off the wall based on what they might think of you from the naked grower persona?
Mm, I'm a huge family person. I'm like the biggest family person on the planet. I attend maybe 3 or 4 social events a year, and the rest of my time is spent traveling with my family. And we're Latino, we're from Panama, and we immigrated here together. So my family means a lot to me. And now we're all kind of spread out all over the United States, just from where life has landed us. So I would say I travel, or someone travels to me at least 4 times a year.
Awesome.
So I have constant like Facebook Messenger chats with my sisters and my mom, and just constant. I'm a huge girl's girl, and I'm a huge family person. I really enjoy genuine exchange with people. So
Yeah, and that's something that's sorely lacking in today's day and age. We're more connected than ever, and yet more disconnected than ever,
yeah.
I believe. Yeah. Last question for you. Kind of fun. You're stuck on a desert island with only one strain for the rest of your life. What would it be?
You know, I have to just stick to who I am as a person and say Tropicana cookies. That is going to be Oni's cut, not Bloom. The pheno that Oni seeds grew out of Tropicana cookies, that's like the most popular on the planet, is my favorite. I could dab and have an edible and feel pretty good already. And if I just light up a joint of Tropicana cookies, it still gets me. Like it still affects me. And so I just think that's so neat. Like something about the biology of me and the biology of that strain, we work together because the THC on that on average is only like 16 or 17%. And it loves me. It hugs me in all the right places. It doesn't make me tired. It's perfect. So I would do very well on a desert island with that.
I'm pretty convinced that THC definitely is not the end all be all. Terpenes definitely have a huge effect on what you
Oh yeah.
feel and how you feel, combined
Oh
with the
yeah.
other cannabinoids that you're consuming. So yeah,
The
terps over
balance definitely
everything.
helps. The balance helps. It all has to be, we always hear the entourage effect. It's like so lame to even say that now, but it's very true. I mean, you had to have everything in balance. It's just like people. So some of the strains like GMO that are upwards of 30%, when I consume that, I usually just get one really strong response, whether that be a headache or just a quick high, and I'm like, oh, or whatever, I think it's about balance for sure.
Yeah,
So,
and different strains for different folks. One strain isn't going to have the same effect on everybody. So just
not at
find what
all.
works for you, and yeah, stick with it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us on the Growing Revolution. It was really cool to get to know you and learn more about what you're trying to do in the industry. And if people want to follow you, they can go to the Naked Grower on Instagram. Are there any other platforms that you're on, like websites or other socials?
That Nope, that's all soon to launch. So I have multiple Instagrams. The Naked Grower is the main one. Naked Bodega is going to be the store, which will be click to shop. It will be monetized on Instagram. But the websites and all that are still being built. So Soon to come.
Well,
It'll be the nakedbodega.com.
we look forward to watching your progress and shouting you out and seeing more
Thank
beautiful Smart
you.
Pot pictures on our feed.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you so much again for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. It's such a blessing to feel the love from you guys.